I want to talk in this video about the cost of not getting financial planning done, whether that's with a financial planner person or you doing it yourself as a do-it-yourselfer. I think I want to talk first about why we procrastinate around this particular topic. Then I want to talk about the downside of continuing to procrastinate. I think the biggest reason that people procrastinate about getting their financial planning done is inertia, right? It's going to require some effort on one's part in order to get that project moving. I think that's a big piece of it. I think another piece of it is we've never really learned to talk about money. I can't tell you how many families I talked to where when they were growing up, if money was either taboo or it was never spoken about. There was just no conversation about money. So people don't know how to start even to talk about money. I know that some people work better under pressure and like to do things at the last minute, which is like the worst thing you can do for financial planning. I know people love to be in their bliss of ignorance, and as long as they don't pay attention to it, maybe it doesn't exist. And I think some people are under such financial stress or under such financial instability that they also are just sort of afraid to look under that rock or turn that page over and see what might be on the other side. And so there's a lot of reasons that we procrastinate, in particular around money. I think that there's what I often say in my office is that we are very wounded around money. And so we don't really have a great way to talk about it. And I try to start to get my clients to become more comfortable with talking just about money, how it gets spent, how it gets saved, how it moves through the world. The downsides to not moving forward, again, whether you're doing it with yourself or you're working with a financial planner, is that you don't have then a long-term vision. And I find often that when you have a long-term vision about something, you're able to take steps in the short term in order to meet that long-term vision. And so if you don't start to craft that a little bit, you're not going to be motivated to save money or to make good financial decisions on your behalf. So I think that's the biggest downside to not starting to work on this project. The second really big downside is that, look, time is your greatest asset most of the time in financial planning. The longer of a runway that you have to pay off debt or save money or change jobs or manage your career, or do any number of things that would promote your financial well-being, putting those things off starts to deplete that great asset of time. So you may not have a lot of money now, but if you've got some time to make some changes in your life, and most of us do, it is worthwhile to go ahead and get started on this project. I think also when you have a financial plan or you have a direction in which you're going with your money, it avoids things like liquidity problems. And by that, I mean you tend not to fall into debt, or what I would call consumer debt or bad debt. There is what I would call good debt. If you're working on a plan, then the chances that you fall into debt go way down. Working on a financial plan also reduces your exposure to risk. So there are risks like interest rate changes, tax law changes, the markets are changing all the time. And if you are paying attention to this, or you have somebody paying attention to these items, then your exposure to risk is going to go way down. I also find that if you get started on financial planning, that you have a much more efficient allocation of resources. And by that, I mean you are saving money in the right places and you are taking advantage of the tax code in order to reduce your taxes, to therefore create more money, to create more savings, and to move you along in your financial goals. So there's no inefficient allocation of resources. And one of the other downsides to procrastinating on your financial planning is the lack of contingency strategies. And by that, I mean lack of a reserve account, having emergency plans in place, having a password vault in place, putting all those things in place that are so important that when emergencies go down, you know exactly where to go, or your loved ones know exactly where to go. Or if something happens in your life financially, you have the resources in order to meet the financial burden of whatever that emergency might be. So I strongly encourage you not to procrastinate. I strongly encourage you to work on your financial planning, whether that, again, that is with a financial planner like me or working on your own. And I will also tell you this little secret. Most of the people that come into my office have usually delayed the conversation with me or some other financial planner for years, literally for years. And they come to the call with a fair amount of anxiety and worry that I am somehow going to laugh at them or make fun of them, or I don't know what they think is going to happen in that conversation. But I don't know any of my financial planner colleagues or myself that would actually do that in that conversation. It just doesn't happen. We want very much to work with people, meet them where they are, work with what they've got, and optimize what they have, because we want people to actually meet their financial goals. And the big one often being retirement, moving into a place where they can do what has heart and meaning for them without having to get a paycheck for doing it. So please get your financial planning done. If you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out. I'm Jessica Lanning. Lanning does planning.